Hi, I'm Dr. Patrick Andersen of Madison Maximize Living. One of my favorite things to do is collect natural healthcare news articles, filter them for you, and give you the most helpful and useful news to enhance you and your family's health. I have a challenge for you. Name one thing more important than your health. I also challenge you to name a better way to build your health than naturally. By making health choices based on current research, you can build health, vitality, and energy. Join co-host Stacy Hansen and myself as we cover natural healthcare news coming up next.
Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. It's natural healthcare news today. We've always got a lot of exciting new things to share with you. As you can see, we've got a lot here. So the first one I've got is from dailymail.com. This is showing about, again, drinking diet soda, this time for pregnant women. It shows here in this study that it nearly doubles the risk of your child becoming obese. So I'm not surprised to find that drinking diet soda isn't that great for you while pregnant, but to find that is a little surprising. It's from the National Institute of Health, and they did look at women who had gestational diabetes, but they were finding that it was significant compared to women that were just drinking water while pregnant.
It's amazing that soda has continued to show how much of a problem it is, especially the aspartame in the soda being so challenging. And the fact that a mother can have this and it's affecting their child's future health. So there's just really no way to get around, I think, just learning to eat right. And you know, everyone that ever recommended getting off of diet soda, they don't miss it.
Yeah.
It's just a habit that's good to break.
Yeah, definitely want to do that while you're pregnant, if not any time before.
I've got one from Healthline. The more you drink, the greater your cancer risk. It's a European study, and it says the alcohol consumption is putting European citizens at risk for digestive issues. Pancreatic, liver, colorectal, and esophageal cancers are more common digestive cancers, responsible for nearly 3 million deaths annually. In one investigation known as the EPIC study, researchers found out that out of 57,600 cases of cancer found in the digestive tract, colon, liver, and men, 80% of those were to men who regularly drank more than one alcoholic drink a day.
Wow.
So the thinking is there really isn't a safe level of alcohol in cancer. We think of red wine for the good for the heart, but probably not even all that safe. What's interesting here is they stated that alcohol consumption in the United States is 1.6 drinks per day for an adult. And Europe is 1.9, so they have more. American Cancer Society recommends that men limit their alcohol consumption to more than 2 drinks per day, and women shouldn't have more than 1 drink per day. But that may even prove to be too much in some of the studies.
Right.
So Dr. Axe, who we often quote here, he'll say one glass of wine a week. No, that's maybe hard, but you know, the closer you stick to that rather than having something every day, probably the better.
Yeah, it seems to be on the safe side. There's another news article here from Get Holistic Health. I was surprised to find there was a new study published in the Journal of Science Translational Medicine. It was a team of scientists at New York's Albert Einstein College of Medicine. It says here they found compelling evidence that chemotherapy could only be a short-term solution. They said that they found that while it does shrink the tumors, chemotherapy was simultaneously opening new doorways for tumors to spread into the blood system, which could in turn trigger more aggressive tumors. So I was surprised to read that.
Yeah, it's a real concern that the chemotherapy can cause other cancers later. And it needs a lot more research. And the best thing to do with cancer is not to get it, and that's by living a healthy lifestyle, because it's still thought to be the majority of cancer is primarily environmental.
Interesting.
So avoid the toxins, keep your body healthy by living right. Here's one on smoking. Smoking can cause pain in the body. The Bayside Desk. We always hear about people should stop smoking all over the world, but this one talks about how your blood supply is reduced when you smoke cigarettes, and then your spine doesn't regenerate properly, so it can degenerate and decay more. It also affects the muscles, where the muscles don't get proper blood supply either. And that's one reason why a surgeon won't do surgery on the back if you're a smoker, because you can't heal very well. So generally you heal about 30% slower with smoking. But
Smoking
evidence that
so much more than
pain
just
in the
your
body
lungs.
can be actually coming from smoking.
Interesting. Well, stay with us. We'll have more natural healthcare news right after the break. Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv. Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. We're talking natural healthcare news today. I've got one here from Healthline. It talks about coffee, and it can actually, it says here, lower your risk of death, and that's even if you're drinking decaf. Which is good news for a lot of coffee drinkers out there. This is from the European Perspective Investigation into Cancer and Nutrition. Did the study, and they found that the higher coffee consumption was associated with that reduced risk of death. Coffee has got a lot of antioxidant properties, which seems to have something to do with it. But they do say here that you've got to watch what you're putting in it. So none of these sugary, syrupy things with cream. That's going to undo some of your effects.
I do know one gentleman who went to the doctor with digestive issues, and he ended up getting a slew of tests and over $10,000 in billings. And unfortunately, his insurance didn't cover it. And he finally figured out that his 10 cups of coffee were too much.
Yeah.
So there are some limits on how much coffee, but there's some benefits too. I hear you actually do better in tests if you have some coffee.
Just a little bit. They do say, you're right, they do recommend no more than 6 cups a day. So if you could cut it down by about 4, I think you'd be all right.
Yeah. Here's one, this is from foxnews.com. Chemical in macaroni and cheese tied to birth defects, says the study. The Coalition for Safer Food Processing and Packaging did a study, and they found phthalates were quite high in the powder of the macaroni and cheese, 4 times higher than they should be. And it was consistently across the board in mac and cheese. And we eat about 2 million boxes of macaroni and cheese every day.
Wow.
So, but they found that the phthalates were in the processing process. It got the powdered cheese got exposed to them, and it poses a risk for pregnant women and small children because it'll affect male hormones or hormone disruptors, and they've been associated with birth defects in boys and learning and behavioral problems. So it really comes down to chemical-free. You know, learn not to. If it's out of a box, I'm probably not going to spend too much time having that. You know.
Yeah, better to just make your own a lot of times. That way at least you know what's in it.
And phthalates have been already banned from babies' teething toys. Imagine chewing on a toy with that chemical in it that you're absorbing in your body.
Yeah, that's frightening to think that that wasn't banned at one point.
Yeah.
Well, here's something you can eat, Dr. Pat. As we know, blueberries are a great superfood, and there's yet another article about it here in medicaldaily.com talking about how good that blueberries are for your brain health. They've got a really high content of antioxidants, which are always a great thing. They call it the brain berry, which you've said too in some of our cooking episodes. It's been found to slow memory impairments and motor coordination that's typically associated with aging. So lowers dementia risk, reduces the effects of Alzheimer's, boosts your brain cells, boosts your concentration, your memory. So it's a great thing to be eating every day.
I just recommend that every refrigerator out there has blueberries in it, preferably organic blueberries. But they're wonderful. You can even get frozen ones, or organic. Costco has them, and they're wonderful. Throw them in a smoothie. Not only does it make your smoothie cold, but you're getting all those antioxidants and rich nutrients that blueberries have. Science just proved sleeping in can help you lose weight.
Wow, that's the best news I've had all day, Dr. Pat.
This is from Lauren Kahn in Reader's Digest. And so this talks about catching up on sleep during the weekend, getting extra sleep. And it says sleeping in on the weekend to make up for sleep lost during the week is associated with lower body mass index, according to a study published in Oxford University Press journal Sleep. So they said that in a group of participants that every half hour of catch-up sleep was associated with a decrease in their BMI, or basal metabolic rate. And that short sleep, being short on sleep, actually does contribute to weight gain. And we recommend 8 to 10 hours, but people do vary. Some people actually get by in 4 to 5 hours, but the studies aren't that good.
Yeah.
You know, that say that can lead to cardiovascular problems. But as you get older, you sleep less. But if you want to watch out too with sleep, it's working the late shift, the 11 to 7 shift. They call it graveyard for a reason. There's actually a lot of problems with that kind of sleep change.
Interesting. Well, that's great news for us, for those of you that are able to sleep in, that don't have small children. We'll stay with us. We'll have more right after the break. Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv. Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. We're talking natural health care news today. And now we wanted to go over an interesting piece here by LifeScript, talking about the 10 superfoods for women. So superfoods are those foods that are just extra, extra good for you. Like they give the example here, romaine lettuce is pretty good for you, but spinach and kale is even better. So if you're going to make your food options, choose these because these are the best. The number one here is broccoli. So you want to get your broccoli, and your mom was right.
Yeah, and they're so full of sulforaphane that it's actually powerful in the anti-cancer literature. The sulforaphane is a very powerful anti-cancer agent. It's a cruciferous vegetable, and broccoli is awesome. Not everybody likes the taste of broccoli, but you can get used to it.
Yeah, I find if you roast it with olive oil and garlic, that's fantastic, and those are both good for you too.
Good.
So yeah, so that's a good way to take your medicine. Superfood 2 is beets. We've talked about beets a lot on the show. I know you had an aversion to it as a kid.
Yeah, they kind of made all the food red on the plate, you know.
Or pink, you know.
Pink,
boys
yeah.
didn't like
but
that.
it is really a superfood, so high in antioxidants, anti-cancer agents, nutrients. It's in a class of its own.
So you want to get those beets in there. Number 3, turmeric. You're hearing a lot about this spice, and it's huge.
It's huge. It's a powerful anti-inflammatory. You can get turmeric in a powdered form, and if you add pepper to it, you can actually boost its effectiveness, and it's powerful anti-inflammatory. So some people take a tablespoon of turmeric a day.
So yeah, and you can just get that in the spice aisle of your grocery store. Superfood number 4 is sardines, and poor sardines get such a bad rap, but really they're not bad. They're not. It says here they taste more like tuna. They're really not that fishy. They don't have that. They don't live up to that reputation.
I know, but it's still kind of gross to chew them. Yeah, with the little crunching noises.
Yeah, I suppose.
You eat the whole fish, but they're very, very healthy for you. It's a great way to get calcium and protein.
So would you say that even kind of beats out salmon? They seem to think so.
Yeah, I think it would.
Yeah, I mean they're oilier.
Not as pretty.
Yeah, they don't have that nice pink color, which now you've learned to appreciate.
And they don't have eyes in the salmon usually.
Yeah. They said here though that they said don't worry about the eyes. More and more now you're starting to see where they don't have the head on them. So
much better.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of old sardines rather than the new way sardines are done.
So these will be a little bit more presentable to our palates.
Thank you.
Superfood number 5 is kale. They say that's part of that broccoli family, but they said if you really aren't a broccoli person, you might want to try kale. Always very good.
And that dark green, they say dark green vegetables are good, and kale can be so dark, it's just loaded with phytonutrients and not amino acids as much, but the not proteins, but the minerals and vitamins, and it's water rich. So kale is a wonderful, powerful
That's
food.
a great one for you. Anytime you see those rich colors. And then blueberries we've talked about already. Black beans also are becoming more and more popular. You know, you usually see that in Mexican cuisine, but you're seeing that in more recipes now.
Yeah, it's a good source of fiber and protein.
And next, tart cherries, as opposed to those, it's not those sweet black cherries that you see, unfortunately. It's the tart cherries that they're recommending here. Almonds we talk about a lot on the show, and it's still a great
Superfood. It's great to
be
have a small
eating.
handful of those.
And then lastly, quinoa, which is another great one because it's a grain, but it's also got a lot of protein in it.
It's a lot of protein, and it mixes with many different vegetables.
Yeah, and it's great for you and tastes great. Well, stay with us. We have more coming up right after this. Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv. Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen, talking natural health care news today. This is a good one, Dr. Pat. I don't know if you're a classical music lover, but there's
There's a few songs I like.
there's some reason here to like it. This is from nutritionfacts.org. And it talks about using music as therapy and some soothing music. People have been trying this out to see if it works to reduce people's anxiety, and they're finding that it does. There's a funny thing here too. Somebody did a test like with someone with a latex allergy, and if you'd inject their skin with that, they get this big red bump. Well, they tried doing the test after somebody had been listening to Mozart for 30 minutes, and they developed a much smaller bump after they had been listening to Mozart for 30 minutes. But the funny thing is that it didn't work for all classical music. It did not work for Beethoven, Schubert, Haydn, or Brahms. So it has to be Mozart.
I wonder how it did for rap.
Probably not well. There's probably another study on rap and rock, but there's something about it. They've also found, there was a study published in 2012 in the journal Pediatrics that saw that them using Mozart for babies, preterm infants, they were actually gaining weight faster. But the good news is for adults, it doesn't seem to make you gain weight.
Oh, no, that's funny.
just for babies.
That's funny.
That's when it's supposed to happen.
Well, you know, when you hear if a mother's playing music to the baby in her womb, the child will know tones and be more musically talented while they're developing, because they'll hear these vibrations and will develop the brain. So input develops the brain. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, and you may want to stick with Mozart. Who knows? He seems to be winning on all accounts.
I'm going to go turn on some Mozart. Mozart. Study putting your kids to bed or risk health problems. Probably some of your own health problems too if they stay up too late.
Yeah.
This is from All the Moms, is the website, and this talks about children who don't receive the recommended 9 to 11 hours of sleep age faster at a cellular level, according to the researchers. The study in New Scientist looked at telomeres, which are the end caps of chromosomes, and they believe to signal cell aging. And when the telomeres are too short, it's thought that cells are not able to divide properly and reproduce, a sign of aging. And they found when the children didn't get as much sleep that the telomeres were shortened.
Already in children, signs of aging.
There were
in some
signs
ways.
showing that they were aging faster when they would compare them to normal. And how much sleep do kids need? Well, just to give you a quick review, the American Academy of Pediatrics offers these guidelines. Infants 4 to 12 months, 12 to 16 hours, including naps. Children 1 to 2 years, 11 to 14 hours with naps. Children 3 to 5, 10 to 13 hours. And here, 6 to 12, 9 to 12 hours. This is where we're, you know,
they're
we're
not
really
getting
getting
that, I
at.
doubt, yeah.
Teenagers, 13 to 18, 8 to 10. I think that's the category where they're not getting. But that's the recommendations from the American Academy of Pediatrics for sleep.
Yeah, you hear sometimes them thinking about pushing back school start times too, because for some kids they're awfully early, and you wonder if that would help with some of these things.
Perhaps it would.
So interesting. And speaking of sleeping, there's another study here. This is from medicinenet.com about seniors being able to sleep more soundly if they're living with purpose. They're finding that those that have good reasons to get up every day, they've got something, you know, that they feel they need to do, they're feeling good about things, they're having less trouble with things like sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, so it's got a lot to do with sort of that well-being that you have.
You know, and I think as you get older or you retire and you switch careers, it's good to repurpose and make sure there's something that stimulates you, because it'll keep you going health-wise.
Yeah.
Well, we just got a few seconds yet, but I've got one here that I'm troubled by. This one says 2 dryer sheet hacks you've never heard of. And the primary thing here is for a bug repellent, they're recommending taking dryer sheets and rubbing it all over your body. And I'm just like, there's 2 kinds of people here.
Yeah.
You know, one that wants to stay natural, and then one that just doesn't care what they put in or on or around their body. So rubbing dryer sheets with their chemicals on your body, yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Because everything goes through your skin.
So yeah, definitely want to keep your eyes out for those kind of things and use your own judgment as well. Well, stay with us. We'll have more right after this. Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv.
Thank you for watching our show on Natural Healthcare News. I hope this session gave you more ideas on how to build your family's health naturally. The foundation of health is a sound structure and nervous system for each member of your family. It is for that reason I recommend a chiropractic checkup to determine the structure, range of motion, leg length, strength for each of your family members. Please give our office a call at Madison Maximize Living at 608-833-1282 for a checkup. For Maximize Living, I'm Dr. Patrick Andersen, and until next time, live well and God bless.